Okay, waiting for it. Okay. Welcome to our program where we are looking at the International Women's Day. I've got with me two distinguished guests, and I'll be asking them to, of course, tell us a little bit about themselves and what they're doing. So if you're watching us right now, I want you to like this page. I want you to share this page. I want you to tell your friends that we are live today, the 8th of March, 2025. Thank God we are alive and well, and that we are here to celebrate another Women's Day. We are defending the right of women and girls and mothers, in this very, very modern, fast-paced life that we are living. So let me go to Barrister Olivia. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, ma'am.
Okay. Well, as you said, I'm Olivia Joseph Aluko. I'm an author, writer. I've got a legal background more in the academic field. I studied migration and law, so I identify myself as a scholar because I also participate internationally on migration. So I have an interest in what we're talking about today, about gender, women being influential in their spheres of influence.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And let me move to my dear sister Sadu. Okay, what is your? Can you tell us a little bit of yourself for the viewers?
Good evening, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. My name is Olajumoke Kukoya, Mrs. Ayobanjo. Just like Olivia said, it's strange. We're friends, but we're also classmates. Studied at the law school some decades ago. Practiced for a while, but presently working as a civil servant in the Ministry of Justice. But I also am a trained professional therapist. So I work as a counseling therapist. I do some work with mind, and I work with the church and with people out and about in the community. I have a big background in working with children. I've been school governors into different places, and I think one of the passion I have is finding out why we have so many women who are very good at what they do, but they still haven't been able to get a grasp of themselves. So as people, I just want a situation where I can get them to first love themselves and then showcase their talent, because it's very important. We're the mothers of the world, and we need to be proud of that at any given time.
Thank you so much for that introduction. For those that are watching us live, you can watch us live on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube. You can watch us live on Facebook and live on LinkedIn. So Olivia, if you could just move back to the middle of yeah, excellent, perfect. You're perfect there. So I've got one question that many people have been asking, is all over the news, that Mother's Day tend to be a day that 2 days, 3 days, like 1 week before, 1 week before the 1 week before, you notice that everybody is celebrating and talking about Mother's Day, but not the International Mother's Day. So I wanted to find out from you, why do you think Mother's Day tend to be more prominent than International Mother's Day? Just your own particular perspective on it.
Is that me or Olivia?
Yeah, you could start. You could start with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Right.
over most of the people across the world would probably, if we think
not
about
a
the,
new
if we
phenomenon.
think,
Go ahead,
go
ma.
ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, ma.
No, Olivia, go on.
Oh. 1 minute. Yeah, okay. You could speak now. your hello, can you hear us?
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, International Women's Day, even before it got into the United Nations. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, go
the
ahead.
International Women's Day was actually, the International Women's Day was actually, birthed a long time ago. In fact, up until about the 1914. There's been talks, there have been different protests, and it started with the issue of inequality among women, its rights. There were protests, in America, Australia, and different places in that time, long before then. So it's actually started just basically for women, because women were working, they were not getting the equal rights to wages, and there were protests, and that's how it really started.
Okay, so from your perspective, we know that a day after Women Mother's Day, especially in Europe, where the three of us reside, we know that mothers seem to be pampered on that Mother's Day, and after that day, they go back into the kitchen to do what they do best. So it's like mothers are the soldiers in the house. They tend to be the one that everybody looks up to. People give them that one day, and we want to change that perspective. That Mother's Day, International Mother's Day, International Women's Day should be a day that we celebrate mothers on a daily basis, not just on one day, but we should be celebrating them, because since 2024 up to today, we know a lot of women have lost their life to domestic violence. We know a lot of them are not getting equal pay. We know a lot of them have got dismissed from their work because of abuse, because somebody tried to take advantage of them. So from your perspective, starting with Sister Jumoke, please, can you tell us what is your view? Have you seen anything change since 2024 till today in terms of celebrating women? I know women are being celebrated, and my organization, Trans Custodium, Trans Intelligence and Security Solution Limited, we celebrate women even today. There's a video that I've gone out from my organization. But I wanted to know from your perspective, has anything changed between 2024 and 2025 for women?
Thank you for that. Well, as a practicing therapist, I'm aware that within the last year, there's been a great influx of women getting to understand that they need to be aware of who they are, who they represent, and just getting self-help for themselves. Women have long been put in a position where they feel they would always give of themselves without remembering who they are. And in the last 1 year, I can say confidently that we've noticed so many female organizations all over the world have started pushing out for women to check on themselves, and for us women to actually pull ourselves together. I think most people have left it before to the government agencies, but we have church bodies. As a practicing Christian also, most churches too have opened up avenues for women to have catering agencies for themselves, equip themselves with getting work for them, emancipating themselves, first of all, to first know that you are a person before you are a woman, because you're birthed as a girl. And one plus I really notice and I appreciate is there is some strength now put across for children that are females. So you have girl child understanding that they would be women in future, but they need to first establish that as the young people, they have to know who they are, believe in themselves, have goals they want to pursue, regardless of whatever is around them. Also, I notice culture too is something that is the public is making sure nowadays that a lot of things that would deride women from getting the best from cultures are being eradicated. It's gradual, but it's working. Such as like having children, getting married on time. Women are fighting over that now. You have mothers chasing government agencies to try and see them for who they are, not just an object of sexuality or ridicule here and there. So I can see a lot is happening out there, but it's going to take a while for that to be established, especially in third world communities.
Thank you so much. And you got an applause all the way from Nigeria there, and there are people watching us live from Uganda, live from Kenya. And like I said, please, if you're watching, please like this page, share this page with your colleagues all over. The numbers are growing. And I know we're going to be talking about some controversial issues here, because no stone will be left unturned. So if you have brothers, sisters that are watching us right now, please tell them to, to share it, because, and please go to the comment page and tell us where you're watching from. Give a shout out, to the women on this platform who are brave enough to come out to stand for women's rights. So let me go to you, Barrister Olivia. So now, Sister Jumoke has just explained, and both of you are lawyers. We just explained, our views in terms of, what she's seen in the last 1 year as changes, the change in drive to improve, things. So what is your perspective of what is happening in terms of women's space and, in terms of women's rights in the last 1 year?
Okay, well, thank you. I've actually believe, for what I can see, that women have stepped up. Not because they've not stepped up, but their voices are becoming more, powerful than it's been decades ago. And when I mean decades, I'm talking about 10 years, 15 years. Now, and there's, you've seen women come out, not just only in Europe, even in Africa. They are becoming CEO of banks. They are initiating, different projects, community projects. They are getting into politics. They are, embracing that change, which you couldn't have had about 50 years ago. So there is actually progress between, if you say 50 years and what has happened in 1 year, there's actually progress. It's a long walk to get into progress that we want to see, because the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 actually talks about gender equality, where poverty is broken among girls, where they are education, and as we speak, there are still girls that are still nations, Sudan, Somali, even in the Middle East, in the Arabian countries, where children, girls are still not sent to schools, but boys are still preferred. So there are still changes, that we need to look at, but there's still been some progress in some areas.
Thank you so much, and I think I need to align with your line of thoughts, because we just left the program. Some few, we met at the program where a lady was asking, as we celebrate Mother's Day, asking women to stand up for their right, and not only that, we saw people asking the member of parliament questions about women's rights, and the member of parliament answering questions on a Saturday, coming out, to celebrate the Nigerian community. The member of parliament, out there speaking to Black women who are asking questions and trying to claim their space and saying, this is our right, we believe that we're entitled to this. A member of parliament saying, yes, I'm going to take this up. That was not something that we're used to before, the women's rights, and you could see what is happening in Nigeria. If we take it a step down to Nigeria, where a woman has actually accused the Senate president of, activities that is not professional, in the drama that is unfolding. She's been suspended for 6 months, for not abiding with the rules of that little club. So, what is your view, Sister Jumoke, in terms of equality within the workplace for women, in terms of equity in pay, maternity leave, part-time maternity leave, being able to have is it crèche they call it now, for mothers, nursing mothers, to be able to bring their kids to to the workplace and having opportunities to be able to be parents and to be able to fulfill their parental right. Now, if you're watching us right now on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube, we need you to come leave a comment and ask us questions, because they are here to answer your questions. They're not only just counselors, they're not only just lawyers, are people within our community here in the United Kingdom who are respected and well experienced when it comes to women issues. So please answer the question.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
One of the things I would first bring out here is the fact that women would need to fight for themselves. I'm a woman myself, and I know that that's one big challenge we have. But the twist for me, and I beg to, I would want to, I know a lot of people would find this a bit strange, but I always use that phrase. I say, women, we are one worst enemies. I'll be honest with that for me, and I'll say why that is. You just mentioned a very big issue happening in Nigeria today, and we've got a person in the Senate who, for example, is, whether she's right, whether she's wrong, you'd expect that where you have 109 senators and you have just 4 women, regardless of whether the accusation is or allegation is real or not, there should be some form of compassion and empathy for themselves, at least. But we see the opposite happening, where she's been also maligned and totally told off, that's the word, for something that is personal. It's not everybody who gets molested. It's not because we're all women in the same building. Some people would be picked on, and it doesn't matter if you were not physically seeing it and you challenge it. So you support the person, you give the person an ear to listen to, and this is why I feel we have a lot of problem. The same scenario I'm talking about, I'm a lawyer myself. We're so many lawyers in Nigeria. We have the the International Federation of Women Lawyers. I think there's a seminar, I think, in March this year in Nigeria for lawyers. And the woman we're talking about is a lawyer. She's very educated, widely traveled, quite experienced, but she's on her own. So it's a sad day for me where we're celebrating International Women's Day and we have people of that level on their own. And it's pathetic. That's the word I'll use for it, because every single woman who is established working out there expects that if they get into a quagmire with anybody, at least they'd have somebody who they can lean on. So it's no good celebrating Women's Day without understanding that one woman raising her hand up means all of us have to put our hands up alongside. And we also need to walk around the aspect about competition. We need to complement each other. That's one of the things that I find lacking. We can compete. There's healthy, very healthy competition. We can have that. But most times I notice, and no disrespect, I'm a woman, and I notice that, for instance, even in the workplace, most people prefer female. You want a male boss. I'm being real here. I have to say this. People come to me with therapy. When they come for therapeutic sessions, most of the bosses they're females. So I'm not going to say I am knocking women down, but I have to be real, because we have a lot of challenges. Sometimes we forget that we're one. So if the women don't come together and stand and uphold themselves, the male gender they don't even need to do anything, because we're already we're not united. So I think one of the problems we have is listening to each other, having an open ear for one another, and helping ourselves to grow. Because if we don't help ourselves, we have a problem. So that's something I really, really feel I get in my workplace as a therapist. A lot of women complain about themselves. So I think it's because we as women have not understood that we have to also challenge ourselves. So you have to have your own self-love, you have to grow yourself. And so if you don't get people to help you, you can push the fight. So we talk about this woman now who's in Nigeria. She's on her own, she's still fighting it. And that's because she has embraced her femininity so much that she's wondering, okay, yes, I'm not getting the support, but I'm moving on. And that would also instill that strength of character in younger people to come forward, and other women too who have fallen by the wayside to now see where there's a fault and then hopefully come together and forge a united front to move ahead. So that's how I see it.
Thank you so much. And I think you hit it on the nail about this healthy competition. And looking at another incident in Nigeria, not that Nigeria is the talking point today, but we had for the first time a female speaker in Nigeria. But unfortunately, she only had the opportunity to stay in that post for just 49 days, and she was, of course, kicked out of that position. She resigned. We must be very clear. She resigned, but that's the position. So, Paris Olivia, we're seeing incident even in Lagos, where all the women say, "By your mandate we shall stand." She only the speaker only managed to stay there for 49 days, and the power that be pushed her out of that seat, and she had to resign for the former speaker who was accused of corruption, high-handedness. It seems all those allegations have been swept under the carpet. The issue is now a family affair, which is the word they use. Few days before the International Women's Day, and here we are, the first female speaker in Lagos State was kicked out or made to resign. What's your view?
My view, it's sad when we look at it, and without any sentiments, is this issue, we still have this, hierarchy, this patriarchal kind of, society where one rule for the men and one rule for the women, 49 days. Right. So what it is that women generally are, seen as the weaker vessels. And what it is that nowadays, women, even girls, you find out that they are becoming graduates, coming first class, going into their professions. But when they are in a society that is patriarchal, yes, you're a woman, you can go this far, but you can't go this far. As we're speaking, I'm not so sure we've had any female president or vice presidents in Nigeria. And I can't remember how many senators that we have, but from what I gathered, at least as of 2 weeks ago, we had 4 senators, who are females, which it's an improvement. Now, out of that 4, 1 actually got suspended. So making 3 senators. Now, we have a society that pushes things by sentiments. No legislation has really followed. No, there's a lot of witch hunting going about. And you can imagine, you find out that, women that should actually come out, there's a lot of hostile. We know there are different women's rights, NGOs in Nigeria and various parts of Africa. Some of them are not empowered, financially, to speak. Some of them are afraid of the powers that be to show that kind of support for, okay, this woman may have missed it. What can we do, to support this woman? For example, the recent one of suspension. Oh, you suspend a woman for coming out. They say, that one is neither here nor there. We are talking about a female. Let's even say that harassment didn't happen. No sexual harassment, no bullying whatsoever. But has this been taken to court? Has it been investigated? As a lawyer, you can't just acquit anyone without, verifying the facts. Nothing has been verified other than sentiments. So I believe that we still have a long way, to go in parity, where we look at women, because think about it. We're talking about professionals here. We're talking about politicians here. If there's no hope for the politicians, what hope is it for the younger generation that are just coming up, that are interested, in flying high in their profession? What is there, for them? So I don't think it's not looking good. If I look at it, I would say it's a sad day. And when we talk about celebrating, I want to correct something or hard or vary. Yes, International Women's Day, women are celebrated, but it's also a time to sit back and reflect on what is going wrong or whether we've been able to achieve the objectives of the International Women's Day, which is about one, gender equality, which is right, and to stop, women being marginalized. And as you say, women even here has to fight for, menopause. There's the issue of, menopause during the time and a whole lot of things, because you find out that men, the people that are in there, it's like, oh, okay, they don't even know how menopause even does affect, women. And they don't take it into consideration that the female gender are much more emotional in their approach. They just, one rule, just, one cap is just for everyone, which I don't think it's right. But where the other senator that has even come in there, no one is looking at, oh, this woman got there, she wanted to walk. No one is looking at, oh, should this woman see a therapist? What is going to happen? How is she going to move on from what has happened? There's been a whole load of talk. People are just going about their own businesses, saying different things on social media, but no real change.
Thank you so much. I know both of you are mothers, so you have a view on this. What role does education play in breaking gender bias from an early age? As people that have children, what do you think we could do better? How do we improve that to ensure that both boys and girls, as they grow up, do not see one as inferior to the other? What's your view? Let me start with Sister Jumoke.
Um, one of the things that I would want to hit on is the home front, because education begins from the house, and
Yes.
children mimic what they see. Children operate by going with the values they find from their role models, normally parents, guardians, grandparents, or whoever they look up, whichever primary carer looks after them, children tend to copy. And most times people just look at education as the school, but I beg to differ. The school is just surrogate parents and guardian ad litems for the children for just some few hours of the day. The children are basically looked after by the home front. So if you're looking at a child who's already 2, 3, and in the house, he or she, because we're talking about this, when the children are small, we first look at them as children before we look at the gender. So if we look at children in a household, how does the father in that house or the male, adult male in that house treat the woman, in the adult female in the house? And what's the relationship? So what the children really see is what they start to emulate and start to take outside. So you have the girl child who's at home, who has a very strong relationship with the dad, who says, oh, you're my baby, I look after you. We know there's a general statement out there where we're told girls are their father's favorite and boys are their mom's favorite. I don't know how that works, but it's just one of the things they say out. And to be honest, where you have a dad who is visibly there for their daughters from childhood, that child grows to have very strong self-esteem. She has a lot of worth, self-confidence, and she carries herself everywhere because she knows this adult male role model would be my king and I'm his princess. So as she's growing, she gets to the school environment and she herself can actually stand tall. So when people give her problems or she's worried, she already has a personal therapist she runs to at home first. And that galvanizes her person, that strengthens her, and she starts to grow with that kind of confidence. So when she has problems while she's growing in the playground anyway, she can actually, have her stance made. Unlike the other child who's in a house where you have the mom always being bashed around, the dad treats her in a very nonchalant manner, just generally having a house where there's a lot of neglect, abuse, a dysfunctional home. Then the child is growing up, regardless of what the teachers teach the child in the school. She comes back home to meet that kind of background, and then they grow up with that. So if we play that with the different children we see in whether in the third world country or in the first world country, if they're living in a home that is already poverty stricken, they also have a family where, when I mean poverty, not just having money, it could be poverty in terms of love, in terms of care. So they go out and they start to see and emulate things that would cause them a lot of problems. For instance, you have things like children getting to gangs. They're girls, but why are they doing that? Because they want to have some form of relationship, stability, people who would believe in them. And then it becomes a problem, because at the end of the day, these same girls grow up doing very well academically, because that's another problem. A lot of us think because children grow up with a lot of good grades, it means that they're socially working fine. No, sometimes you can have a child who's very dysfunctional, but living very well in the school and doing well. And then you wonder what went wrong later on in life. So I would want us to, as mothers and fathers, remember that the girl child is just another child, nothing different. The boy child, the girl child, we need to move away from that belief that the boy child is more important than the female child. A lot of statistics right now out there mention that most children, when they grow up, most of the girls actually are the ones. Many men come out to say the girl children still come back to look after them. And the purpose of saying, "Oh, I wanted a boy," sometimes get defeated because the boy goes his way. So I think, as a mother, one of the things I have always instilled in my children was to understand they were both the same. You actually have to complement each other, your siblings, and you try and avoid sibling rivalry, all the different things that would help them work. And as a practicing Christian, I bring the biblical injunctions into it. So even when you're looking at the female child, you're bringing her up in a way that she would grow, so that when she grows up, she doesn't depart from God's ways. So I make sure that there's that understanding that regardless of everything you do in life, the basic building blocks must be crystallized with the word of God. And that helps you strengthen yourself as you're growing up every day.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, because you shed light to it. I could see the comments flying in, flying in really. But Olivia, you are a mother of two beautiful boys who are, very respectful, kids that one could be proud of. And of course, that's evidence to the fact that you have already instilled in them the understanding of, being, respecting girls, respecting mothers. What would be your advice to, to people, to families out there that are raising boys, and how those boys could be very respectful, to women and to mothers, to girls out there that they meet on the streets?
Hmm. That's, I mean, coming from a man, it's a very important question. One, respect. One of the things is that showing them respect for everyone, not saying, "Oh, because you are, I mean, you are a man or you're a boy, you shouldn't go to the kitchen, you shouldn't do, I mean, prefer things." I remember that a few weeks ago, I told myself that, oh, okay, like when I'm picking up from the station, train station in the night, you just jump up and go. I said, I looked at it the first time, I said it was trial. The second time, I said, you know what? You didn't just enter an Uber, I said it could have been like if you had had a partner, a lady or somebody, that you need to see that it is safe for that person before you just rush to go as a person. And what am I teaching? I'm teaching him respect on how to look out for one another. And again, when we're talking about raising boys, we've looked at it that maybe the generation before us failed, because the when I mean failed, I'm talking about the generation of some of the way our parents raised, I mean, men. So they go to uni, they go to university, they get all the education, but you find out that even in that same way, you can have a guy that doesn't know anything about housework at all. And that is what it is. So by the time they are married, they can't even help their wives. They don't care. They just believe, sit down, stop, just playing about with the kid. They can't change pampers because they believe it's a woman's job. And because this generation, our generation X, generation Z, or whatever it's calling, times are changing. 15 years ago, we may not be having this conversation. We may not be on YouTube, or maybe 20 years ago in that aspect. So respect, it's important. Respect what you look for, respect dignity, teaching your boys right from the age how to serve, how to care, showing them what dignity is. I remember right from the time that my children became teenagers, or even before them, I was telling them that mom believes in you. Every time they are going, mom believes in you. Because a lot of the time, if a lady marries someone where the father is not even, there's a difference between strict and cruel. The father was cruel, to them, beating, not explaining and stuff like that. He would fall, except he fights it, he would duplicate that stuff in his own marriage. The same anger, the same things, because he himself didn't receive that sort of love. Yes, he could be successful, he could have done different things, be a fine businessman, be a fine professional, but he would just be like a narcissist. Narcissists are people who, to the outside world, they are the darling of everyone, the go-to. But when it comes to their family life, they make their family life just suffer. They don't treat their, wives with respect. They don't treat their children with respect. So you find out that, boys and young men that grew up in such an environment, what do you expect? Except they fight it. So there's a lot of work, to be done. As parents, okay, what is it that we are doing? And include sibling rivalry. This one is better than this. As we speak, there's some certain, homes in not only Nigeria, in Africa. In fact, Nigeria is still ahead in a lot of African countries. To be honest, we may complain, but Nigeria is still ahead, in the way when you talk about gender equality and allowing women to achieve their potentials. There are still some homes that believe that a woman, this one is the first one. I want the man because he's going to bear my name to, handle my business, do certain things. Meanwhile, this, man that you are talking about, you will bankrupt your business. But there's a woman that is there. You don't want to touch that woman because, she's a girl. And there's some people that are still like that. When she goes ahead and marry, this is one of them. You not give it to a man that at the end of the day, once you are gone, you are gone. You find that there's a lot of fight that are going on. So it's more or less our own mentality, learning, making sure, people learn. Because at the end of the day, we tell our children that, wait, I don't want any woman to curse me because this man is doing any of these things.
Thank you so much. And we're shifting the gear. We're going into the controversial issues very soon. So if you're watching us right now, I want you to like this page. I want you to share this page. I want you to tell your friends that we're live on Facebook, live on Twitter, live on Facebook, live on LinkedIn, and live definitely on YouTube. And I want you to tell us where you're watching from. I know my good brother is watching from Kenya. I know people are watching all the way in Nigeria, and even in Kent, we're being watched right now. So let me go to you, Sister Jumoke, because I know you don't mind drawing the gun. Why do women face greater health inequalities compared to men? And if we talk about that health inequalities, let's throw the floor open. Women's space is being encroached on a daily basis. And we know incidents now, even in the UK and some places where even the President Trump actually talked about, some issues in America, which is becoming very controversial. What is your take on all these issues in 2025?
Thank you for that. Well, it's been coming for a while. It's unfortunate. It's about 20 years we've had this issue where we've had our space being encroached on gradually. But I think people thought it was a little thing that would go away. Well, it's now here haunting us, and I pray that by the special grace of God, we would get around it. It's very, very disheartening because there's so much already as a woman you have to face, and you already feel that you're not validated most times as much as you want to. Um, in the workplace, you have issues regarding your life as a person. You generally, as a person, every month women have their menstrual cycle, because let's be real here, and we normally have we're all different, we have children, and you have the other gender, the male gender, who normally don't understand some of these things, just like my fellow speaker mentioned earlier on, that we're getting older. By the grace of God, I'm going closer to 60, and I haven't had so much issues around menopause. And unfortunately, in the office, people are comparing me with other people who are younger but who have worse issues. So it looks like they're kind of com- um, kind of taking us for granted here and there. But I think, like Olivia said earlier on, there's a need for more understanding of our gender as we're growing up. We have so much opportunity out there for um, people to speak out about who we are. And I think it should come from the men folk. We have male doctors, we have male gynecologists, and sometimes it's strange that they're not actually sitting men down to talk to them about many of these issues. Because if you think about a lot of people at this age, from maybe 40, 50, you start having issues. It affects marriages. Women just change overnight, and they're wondering, they themselves cannot even understand themselves. And so you have their partners, spouses, husbands, who, whatever relationships they're in, they just feel, oh, things have gone awry. But it's because there is no full understanding of what's being talked about. And then you have the children too, who get into trouble because for no reason out there, mom too is becoming a strange person. And all it needs is a bit of encouragement, understanding, opening up to them. Even if they're not opening up, just take them as they are. You've had these women for so many years, and all of a sudden you're having issues in the house. Well, these are areas where you can actually show a lot of empathy, signpost them, even encourage them. You have people shaming, body shaming. All of a sudden, there's so many things out there women have to kind of work with. But like you mentioned, the Trump issue, that's the greatest of it all, where we have people becoming women and taking over what should really what should rightfully be ours. I would say the first thing we women should be doing is boycotting. It's one of the things I find strange. I would generally advocate for that. You have women's swimming team, basketball teams. I was so happy. I think it was Venus or Serena, one of them just threw her racket down last year and walked off live, because she just said, I'm not going to be contesting against competing against a man. I'm a woman, and I think it should be somebody of my gender who will be opposite me. And it's that kind of stance that we should be doing all over the place. Before Trump came in, you had the problem of a lot of girl teams feeling really bad that they've put in so much work, and then somebody from somewhere comes, because obviously their bodies, their physiognomy and their body structure is different, so they would always do better than us. I have a normal saying, which is men have power, excuse my language, when I mean power, physical, strength, and women have energy. So we can multitask, we can do so many things together, but a man can just carry a fridge and just lift it up. I wouldn't be able to do that regardless. So yes, on that angle, I think what a man can do, a woman can do. I don't think I can carry a fridge, but I can do 10 things together and multitask, which most times the men find difficult to deal with. So I think that's a very big problem we're having. Women are being overridden in terms of the workplace with things like that. I think we already have the problem where we deal with everyday problems in terms of the challenges regarding our work. So we have targets we have to meet, we have to work on the home front. Most times now we're working from home. It's a difficult thing for most women who are raising little children. and also for the carers, who women who actually care for elderly people or their husbands. There's an expectation that you should be producing the same amount of workload, forgetting that there's the added person. The person needs to have some break, and that's where we as women too need to encourage ourselves to say, I have to have self-care, I need to have self-love, and I need to take time off. So I call it self-care, but most people say it's being selfish. So women too, we need to have time away, regardless of what anybody's saying. We need to create that atmosphere where we as individuals, first of all, take time to replenish, recoup, and understand that we're number one. Because if you don't make yourself fine and you go away, the whole thing falls and you might never recover. So it's one of the things that I work with therapy. And a lot of the women who I see many times don't understand why they're in trouble. And by the time we deal with, we kind of maneuver some of the problems, we get them to get skills for themselves where they look back in time and see that they had always prioritized other people before themselves, their goals, their different objectives, what they want to do in life. But it's never too late. So they pick up the pieces, start afresh, and then kind of work on that. And that actually gives the children who are younger at home some motivation to say, okay, yes, this is workable. I'll give an example. There's a lady I was dealing with some time ago who just kept on thinking, oh, my children are my male children are more important, because she's come from that part of the world where the boy child is more important. And she goes to the prison always to see the two boys have been in prison over 10 times. Meanwhile, a daughter who's a medical doctor brings her to the therapy. She brings her to therapy sessions judiciously every week. And she never ever acknowledges that child. And what's the problem? Because in her family, that girl is of no consequence. So we had to walk around her, understanding that she needs to leave the boys alone for some time, let them feel the rot of what they've gone through. Because when she gets to the prison, they treat her like rubbish. So she's at the point where she's understanding that, okay, I need to look at myself, I need to give myself regard, I need to understand that I bathed those boys, so I should be in charge. That's the problem. Many times the women don't get to feel they're in charge, and that's what society has put upon us. And when you want to be in charge, you're being told you are walking out of space. So when one person decides to do it and the others don't join, it then looks like you're alone. So that's part of the problem. We need to come together. The minute one person joins and the others start coming in, then the other people who are giving us problem start to see it's like a mini revolt. Until we start having that, we're going to have a lot of problem. Now, back home in the countries that are third world, it's very difficult, because it's something I see, that because we're in the civilized world, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves, that, oh, it's easier here because we have the law, we have people who back us up, and reality check comes in when we see something like what happened in Nigeria recently, that wow, this is somebody who's that high up. She has all the she has everything, I can say, like power, everything, but when she steps on toes that she becomes nothing. And that's something that keeps a lot of the younger people then instead, because they then say, what's the point of me pushing? So I think that's one of my problems. I feel one of the issues that we need to work on is getting ourselves, the elderly ones, those of us who are older, need to form a place where we can actually tell the younger ones that we're there for them, because we are not there for ourselves yet. So how do we want to pull them in? There are many NGOs, there are many organizations that are bringing the children together. But at the end of the day, what happens when we are faced with challenges that can actually cause us problem? Are we in a place where we can say we don't care, we're going to lose our jobs? Because that's it. And if we lose our jobs, is there something to fall back on? Do we have support system to help us to navigate when we fall off the radar in terms of financial remuneration? Because that's the long and short of it. The woman who is selling pepper on the road, the woman who's maybe taking firewood back home, What do they have to show for it when somebody just slaps them on the road? There's nothing they can do. They just have to, lick their wounds and move on. Until the society changes, we would still have those kind of things. And when we talk of International Women's Year Day, my question is, the everyday woman who's on the street, does she even know what that is? Does that come about? They don't. It's just most of us who are enlightened, educated. Those on the street are just getting to understand Mother's Day. And that's because their children who have become enlightened have come to start recognizing them. So they come and celebrate them in the marketplace with the saxophone and different things like that and gifts. So it's trickling there gradually. But I think with this particular one, it will take a while in our culture. It's going to take a while because, like you said initially, the celebration of the woman is something that should be done every day in the house. So if it's just kept to one day, it doesn't make a difference. So if the woman needs to be celebrated by dad, grandpa, and the male people in the house, because normally it's something that you just do on one day. And if it's done regularly, you don't need to buy a gift. Just a little thank you, mom, how are you okay, just the little things. Why are you frowning? Is there a problem? Just help her. Oh, mom, don't do this, go do this. Sister, your sister too, the same thing. The little girl, you help out. So it's just that little extra mile you go for the person on a daily basis, because many people
Yeah,
think it's about gifts, and I think we need to take our minds away from that. It's the care, the
definitely.
love, the affection that
Excellent.
matters. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm
Thank you
sorry.
so much.
To
And
add,
I think you, yeah,
yeah,
go ahead, Pastor Olivia.
to add to what we were saying, you see, because of, I mean, I take back, because of a lot of things that girls nowadays or the younger generation have seen that has happened to, the people, before them, they've seen abuses, they've seen child marriage, they've seen a lot of kidnappings, they've seen a lot of violence. So you've seen women on the other side who have gone to the extreme. So when you talk about extreme of protecting themselves by themselves, becoming violent themselves, becoming violent in their homes because they believe that, you know what, they don't have anybody to speak for them. You know, one of my colleagues told me something that happened in Nigeria about maybe late in the late 1990s or early 2000s. She said she was in court. So he said this woman petitioned the judge for a divorce. Why? Because the husband is always beating her. You know what the judge said, and it was a female judge? Said it in Yoruba. Are you the only one that they will be? Come on, get out of my court. And they won't court next. No. So in that instance, she would leave. That divorce wasn't honored because, oh, so what is the big deal? They beat you. And even there are mothers who would even still, even up to date, that are still telling their daughters that, wait, look at it. Your father beat me, oh, they did this, that. So it is no big deal. It is they rubber stamp this. So you will now see some other ones will look at it as, you know what? Maybe they saw their sister go down that route. The husband didn't treat them right. Somebody that was so cheerful, who had a lifetime of prosperity before her, but she got married to a perpetrator who turned into a punching bag. So that other one married with that, sort of
Mindset.
horrible mentality of she's faced that trauma of seeing that happen in her parents' life, in her sister's life. So she entered into marriage very vicious, very vicious. So even you married a fine gentleman, you can't see a fine gentleman, who is well behaved. You are seeing instead someone, you have it in your head, you've created it in your mind. What that's mindset that, oh, horrible man. So no matter what, so you find out that, because let's look at it. I like to balance what I say. I mean, men have things as well. So you can imagine, very lovely man that doesn't like what we call wahala, trouble at all. We found out you can't marry a woman who is like, if you're not careful, you may send you to an hell because of anger, because of all these things that she grew up seeing, things that she's seen she has happened to her sister. So I mean, you are aware that in recent times, in the last 2 years, you've had, oh, a woman stabbed her husband to death. This one did this one, that, and stuff like that. But we're not looking at, we are like, murder should be judged. Hey, this, hey, that, and stuff like that. You know, even women will pamper. Now, am I saying that a woman should murder or do anything to yourself? No, that is not what I'm saying. It's because there is no, no law, no enabling environment to let out emotions, no one to say, you know what, yes, you are a woman, you are a person of your own, you can achieve different things. This is, you know, respect, dignity, and there's no environment to heal where people can go, support network, where you can say this is happening. In fact, there have been issues where women talk about what is happening to friends, and you had an issue where the friend is the best friend that now started going out with the husband, the marriage scatters, and so there's a lot of healing that needs to go on. The law cannot do that. It's when we have support groups, NGOs, those are the ones that can actually, you know, rewrite and provide support to victims and people that are hurting, either the man that is hurting or the woman that is hurting. Because I've seen, you know, men, because of what they have even gone through with their wives, maybe that has ended up in divorce, or their finances have gone haywire, they don't want to have anything to do with women at all. They are scared.
Thank you so much. And our time fly. We're almost at the end of this program, and people are just joining and actually, you know, leaving comments. So if you're joining us, you're watching live on Facebook, live on LinkedIn, and live on YouTube, please drop a message in the comment box, and let us know where you're watching from. Let me, because we only have 4 minutes left, so let's make it quick. Let me throw in about 2 or 3 questions. If you could just answer me in 35 seconds, I will appreciate it. How can society create safer environment for women facing domestic violence? Let me go to you, Sister Jumoke.
Well, as a therapist, one of the things I would advocate is for maybe different working organizations to just have a talking time therapy place. They have signpost people there within the home. A lot of people don't understand that just having a little chat with somebody makes not just the pastor or the man in the mosque, it's or whoever you see, an adult, because they are normally befrienders and they just give advice. So you need to speak to somebody who's totally devoid of your relationship. You need an independent person, people like us who are out there just to go and talk about things. They don't help you to solve the situation. They help you navigate what's happening and find skills to walk around it to live a better life. That's it.
Thank you. Barrister Olivia, what do you think in 30 seconds?
Again, to really, I want to talk about Black people, Africans in particular. We're very religious people. And for ministers, clergy, imams, for them not to rubber stamp domestic violence because they say, oh, God hates divorce. God hates divorce because of the trauma, the damage that it does to individuals. Not that, oh, this is you have to stay there and die. So it's more or less like, why did I say we are very religious people? It's especially Nigerians. They will believe their pastor before they even believe the bank manager. That is it. They will believe. Oh, if they say travel, yes, I can see that you are traveling to US. They will believe their pastor. So what I'm saying is, when people come to you that they have issues, or you know that they have issues, let your message be that of encouragement. If you don't know, signpost them to people that can help them. Don't just talk culture, because cultural barriers, it's a great thing, that is hindering people from saying they are sexually harassed at work. from them from talking. So it's more or less like allowing people to talk, supporting them, knowing that there is an element of truth. There may or may not be, but the support network, the support system actually needs to be created, built on, and the government needs to sponsor and support NGOs.
Can I just
Let
quickly
me
add
quickly,
that? Can I just quickly
yeah,
mention that one passage
okay.
that Christians don't use? It's in the Bible. It tells you to flee. It doesn't say run. It says flee. Flee means to run faster than running. So flee all appearances of evil. And that particular message is what I think all domestic violent people should notice. You need to leave where that issue is and move to another place where you can start to pray and fast. Not stay in there and get yourself into trouble, because there is a difference in fleeing. It doesn't say you should pray, fast, speak in tongues, do all these things there. It says you should flee first from any appearance. It didn't say from the evil. So we need to look at the words very well. The appearance, and then you leave, and then you do whatever you want to do there. So you're separated for a while to cool down. The man cools down, the woman or the children. But most times we stay in that rut and it gets worse, and then hell gets let loose. So that's it.
Thank you. We're going to shut down in another 1 minute. But before we go, I cannot shut down this platform with that, or this broadcast without asking these two valid questions. And I want you to give me your answers in 15 seconds, if possible. How can technology and digital platform be used to magnify women's voice globally?
Yeah, creating pages with valid descriptions, with a focus on what it's about, and working. You see, good things do take time to build on, and not just creating those pages, let them see you at the forefront, that you are genuine in leading these things. Show them what it is that you are doing. Show them that you really care about them, not because you want to score points or you want to get funding. And people thrive when they believe that people actually care for them, not just academics, but they are actually doing the practical to ensure that there are changes.
Thank you. And Mr. Jumoke, what's your view on that too?
Well, like you just said, I'll just say, adding to that, is for you as the person who's starting those things to ensure that you're available to any kind of person. This is very important. So it's not just setting up things, it's to understand the different people and knowing in advance where you can signpost those people to, so you don't get them, worried, anticipated. You raise their hopes and then you dash it. It's very important. So
yeah. And my last question for the day, and if you could answer it in 30 seconds, I know it's a very, very crucial question, but I'm confident that you both could do justice to it. What message would you like to leave for the next generation of women leaders? That's Olivia.
Yeah, keep thriving, developing yourself, develop your soft skills. When I talk about soft skills, we talk about issues around courage, the way you carry yourself. We're not talking about clothing, win respect, be teachable, willing to learn from other people, treat people right, be kind. And when you are kind, also be tough. Don't be a doormat, because you have people that want to push you over. So it's more or less follow your personal development, follow your dreams, follow your vision, and support other women that are coming out.
Thank you.
I would just say, with all Olivia has said, while that is part of what you'll be doing, I would advise the younger people coming should ensure that they are God-led in everything they do. Acknowledge God in all your ways. That's the first thing. But the other thing also is give room to mistakes. Give room to mistakes. It would happen, and don't beat yourself about it. Just find what is wrong, brace yourself, look for how to get around it, and move on. So that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. And let me just use this opportunity to say to those that are watching us right now, Trans Intelligence Security and Solution Limited is here for you every time. You could visit our website www.trans-intelligence-security.com. We have ebooks there that talks about a lot of things that you will be interested in. And we have some programs that are coming up very soon, which is about women-friendly, platforms, how to ensure we embed women-friendly initiative within the organization. If you want to know more, visit our website www.trans-intelligence-security.com. is running underneath this page. So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today to celebrate women. This is very, very important. Just like I said, be kind, women supporting women. That is very, very important. Just like one of our viewers said, Valley Point, it's important. Best way to bring up boys, according to my brother in Kenya, is to subject them to routines. And women are the best at doing that. So until we meet again, thank you so much to our two panelists, and thank you to our viewers back home watching us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please share this broadcast, like it, make comment on it, and let it go viral. And until we meet again, it's bye for me and for Barrister Olivia. Bye from you and bye from. Yep, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.